And welcome once again to another edition of the Truth Hour. My name is Johnny Guzman. It's a pleasure to be here on this Monday, April the 2nd, 2012. Well, today's topic, police brutality, the insane wearing uniforms. And before we get into this program, I'd like to remind you a couple of things. Make sure that you send us an invitation to join us on Facebook. You can search for us at qlpmultimedia@gmail.com. In our webpage, you can see us live as well as you can see us here in Facebook. You can enter our site at www.qlpmultimedia.com. And of course, you can see all of the archive videos of all the programming that we have done here at QLP at YouTube, in YouTube at QL Television. In YouTube, that's QL Television, and there you can see all the programs that we've done in English and in Spanish. Okay, so today's topic, police brutality. I'm just sick and tired of seeing videos, getting reports from so much abuse in the United States, in England, in Australia. You see, down in South America, it's not that much of a problem. You know why? Because the police down here in South America are, believe it or not, more civilized. More civilized in the sense that whenever you see a cop or a peace officer, as sometimes they're called, you feel safe. You know, you see a cop and then you're like, wow, okay, in case something happens, you know, the crime, there's a cop around, you feel safe. On the contrary, when you see a cop in the United States, in England, or I'm sure in Australia as well, the first thing you do is panic, because you don't know if they're going to come after you. You don't know if you're driving too fast. You don't know if you might just look at them the wrong way. And if they pull you over, you know, that's another story. They immediately begin to harass you. They talk to you in a tone of voice that's degrading. And you just have to shut your mouth and not say anything and comply to whatever they ask you to do. Now, that should be in a society where you're a slave and you have no rights. And these troglodytes just can talk down to you and say whatever they please just because they have a badge and a uniform. Now, we've talked here with other guests in our show here in the Truth Hour. Well, we just have discussed how the whole system is corrupted, and these so-called police officers or peace officers are just there to protect the controlling cabal. They're just there to make sure that they stop you, harass you, throw you in jail, fine you, take you to court so you continue to feed more money to that corrupted system. So what's the main issue here? I had a discussion with someone earlier today in Facebook, and they were telling me, well, you know, you saw that video, you don't know the whole story, you know, something might have happened. I'm going to show you some videos today, my friend, where you're going to see how this police brutality has just totally gotten out of hand. There's 1,000 videos, but I highlighted these 3 videos in specific, and they're a couple of months old. So you can see how these thugs, these criminals, because they're criminals, could just do whatever they want. They can talk down to you, they can insult you, they can hit you, they can arrest you, they can taser you. They can just do whatever they want. And that's scary. So most people will say, you know what, I'll just cooperate, I won't say anything back to them. But you know what, enough is enough. We have to stand up and do something about these criminals. I'm going to show you these videos, and they're disturbing. They're extremely disturbing because it just shows how these individuals have become, I don't even know what the word is. Animals? No, that'd be an insult to the animals. Brain dead? I mean, it's just insane. I want you to let's take a look at our first video. This is a little video that was, it's quite a few months old, but this is a cop chasing a woman on the highway. And apparently, you know, in today's day and age, you don't know who's chasing you. And I'm sure he was in an undercover car. And so she decided to, you know, wait until there was an area where there was more cars to pull over to see what was going on. And just take a look to see what happens with this in this case. Watch this.
For 8 miles on this South Carolina highway, a trooper pursues a driver who's been speeding. Later, she'll claim she wasn't sure he was a cop and that she wanted to reach a more populated area before stopping. When she finally does pull over, he's clearly on a short fuse.
Cut the car off now! Turn the car off! Roll the window now! Roll the window down now! Turn the car off! Put the damn keys out the window! Now! Out of the car! On the ground now! Get out of the car! Get on the ground with my seatbelt on! Get out of the car! Put the damn keys! Get out now! Now! On the ground! On the ground! Now! On the ground!
The driver, a nursing student from Florida, suffers scratches and bruises as she's dragged from her car and handcuffed.
On the ground! Now! On the ground!
The dash cam video, broadcast nationwide, stirs widespread claims of police brutality. In the end, she gets a speeding ticket and a 6-figure legal settlement from the South Carolina Department of Public Safety. And the trooper, an 11-year veteran, gets fired. For 8 miles on this South Carolina highway, a trooper...
Okay, so... you see this officer, right? Police thug, pulls out this woman and drags her to the floor with the gun in his hand, screaming, yelling at her because she's the maximum authority here. Pulls her over, drags her out of the car. The lady's telling her, listen, I can't get out of the car. I have my seatbelt on. And he's yelling and screaming and ranting because he's got to show that he is the boss. Okay? Do we need this? Do we need this kind of force? I'm going to show you this next video from this other officer that I think these guys really need some anger management courses. I believe, honestly, that these police officers are all insane. You see, there's a process of selecting police officers. They go through a psychological examination. And they select the people, and I don't buy that nonsense that, you know, you have to do, you got to pass the exam, the mathematics and the English, and that whole nonsense. And then you also have to pass the psychological. The psychological exam is just to see if you're crazy. But you know what? They make sure that they get guys who are crazy, meaning not crazy that they can't function in society, but they are very short-tempered, that they're very stressed, that they're very angry. Okay, they have these tools in the way to measure these aptitudes on the people they're evaluating. So they select. And you know why I tell you this? Because I knew a guy in the United States that I grew up with. Okay, I'm not going to mention the town because he's still a cop over there, but this is a true story. I grew up with this guy, and he was, I would say, we were 15, 14. I was 15 years old, and he was about 12, 13. This guy, this kid, was so angry. He didn't talk to anyone. He fought with his sister. I think I was dating his sister. He hated the mother, hated the father. This guy was just a total mess. Then he became 17, and his anger just got more violent. And then after maybe 5, 6 years, never saw him again. And one day I'm driving down this road in this town in the United States, and then I look to my side and I see this particular guy in a police car driving the police car. Now he's a police officer, and I said to myself, "This is crazy. They allowed this nut job to become a cop to protect the people? This is insane." This guy had some serious psychological problems. So you see, I know a couple other ones that are in the same category, and they're all either state troopers or police officers in local towns. State troopers, for those of you guys that are not from the states, they are the cops that patrol the states. They are sort of higher on the ranking scale of authority in the United States. And it's just insane. It's a lot of these guys have mental problems, and they are there to protect us, supposedly. So I want to show you this next video from this guy gets pulled over. He's a tourist from Germany. Now pay attention to what this police officer says to this tourist in the United States. Watch this.
Stopped you for your speed. License, registration, insurance.
Sure. It's a rental car.
Registration and rental agreement.
That's the rental agreement?
Where are you from?
Germany. You got
Do you know what the speed limit is here, you Germany boy?
I didn't really get it yet.
Then why are you driving in my country? Why are you driving if you're not paying attention to the speed limit?
Is it 70?
It's 70 miles an hour. Then why are you going 98?
I was just following another...
Don't follow any other cars, and let me give you a little hint. You weren't following nobody.
Okay.
I was right in front of you. You were leading the pack. This ain't the Autobahn. Do you understand that?
I get that, sir.
You know what happens to nice little boys like you that have to go to jail for reckless driving? Ass will be hurting for a month.
Okay, I get what you...
7377 Barstow.
I suggest you slow down and do 70, or you will get violated.
It won't happen again.
Okay. So here's this tourist from Germany driving. Okay, granted he was going a little over the speed limit, but normally, going 98 on a 70, I mean, they lock you up. I mean, in the United States today, you go, the speed limit is 65 and you go 67, they're pulling you over and they're slamming you with a ticket. Okay, so this was, a little bit ago. But the main reason why he let him go is because he can't give him a ticket. Because he's a tourist. So if he gives him a ticket, it makes no sense. The guy's not going to pay the ticket because he's not from the States. So he knows this. So what does this thug say to this German tourist? Now, grant you that you got to treat your guests with kindness, because you want people to come to your country and to visit and spend your money in the country that you're visiting, of course, right? But no, not in this case. With this thug, he calls this guy Germany boy. He says, "Germany boy, what are you doing driving in my country? This is my country." I mean, is this insane or is this insane? It's ridiculous. And those of you who support this insanity, you should be locked up for supporting this stupidity. So he calls him Germany boy. What are you doing driving in my country? Then he goes and says to him, "You know what happens to good boys like you in jail? Your ass be hurting." Now, do you think that that's proper for a police officer, a peace officer, to say that to another human being? Not in my book. Maybe in your insane mind, for those of you who think that this is okay, or for those who sympathize with these thugs. So I have a few of these friends that they sort of look up to the police officer like it's a big deal. These guys are the most dangerous guys, and they're selected, as I said earlier, on purpose so they can become cops because they can't think straight. They only know how to follow orders. Okay? So he tells this guy, your ass will be hurting for a month if I throw you in jail. Very nice. Beautiful. It's a beautiful way to talk to another human being. Yeah, I'm telling you that these guys are angry. They've been angry, and I can guarantee you that if you talk to anyone that knows a cop from when they were younger, they'll tell you the same thing. These guys were insane. They're violent. They beat up on smaller children. They when they were a little older, 17, 18, they hit women. I'm telling you, these guys are thugs, and they're wearing a uniform now, and they are there to support, to protect you. How insane is that? They're not there to protect anything except the interest of the controlling cabal. Now, this next video I'm going to show you, it's even more alarming. You know why? Because here's this, I don't even know what word to use, this piece of trash that has a uniform, and he stops these kids, they're about 13, maybe 14 years old, they're skateboarding, and he comes over to them, and he just begins his hatred and his anger. Now, this only tells me one thing. This guy obviously is a bully. And number two, he has some serious problems at home. He has no authority at home. And number three, he's brain dead because he tells the kids that they must follow orders. Be a good boy and you got to follow orders. Now, you got to follow orders. This is what everyone in the world has been doing, and look where we are today. So I'm going to show you this video now. Pay close attention to what this piece of garbage says to these young kids, because they are skateboarding. Watch this.
Yeah, I tried to tell him, but he had his earphones in.
Start saying, get the earplugs out of your ear. Can you hear me now? Hey, I'm talking to you. What? Can you hear me? Yeah. Don't get defensive with me, son. You're spend some time in juvenile. You're not allowed to ride your skateboards down here. Nowhere.
Yeah, I didn't hear you.
That's why I asked you if you have the thing on. Don't get defensive with me. You backed off me. I'm not your father. You hear me? I'm not your father. You give that attitude to your father. You give it to me, I'll smack you upside the head.
I don't have a father.
Shut your mouth, I'm talking.
Here, shut up, dude.
Where are you from?
Dude, I didn't do anything.
Where are you from?
No.
Give me that skateboard. Sit down.
What the hell?
Sit down.
Dude,
Sit down, I'm not a dude.
I'm calling Here, sit down.
You're damn right you're calling your mother.
Dude, don't take my skateboard. I didn't do anything, dude.
You call me dude one more time. Are you from the county or something?
No, I didn't do anything. I didn't hear you.
Hey, let's go.
Where are you from? I'd like to talk to her.
I didn't even do anything. I didn't hear you.
First of all, you disrespected me, this badge, and my department. You understand me? When I'm talking to you, you shut your mouth and you listen. Obviously, your parents don't put a foot in your butt quite enough, because you don't understand the meaning of respect. First of all, you better learn how to speak. I'm not man, I'm not dude. I am Officer Rivieri. Now, the sooner you learn that, the longer you're going to live in this world. Because you go around doing this kind of stuff, somebody's going to kill you. How old are you? 14.
Your number.
Sit down.
78.
Did you not just hear me? Son, what is your problem? You go to school and give your teacher this kind of lip and backtalk your teacher? Then what makes you think you can come and do it to a police officer? Stop calling me dude. A dude is somebody who works on a ranch. Your friends got brains in their head. They know when to shut their mouth. You just keep flapping. Now, what's your name? Eric what? Speak up. Where do you live, Eric Bush? And what's your address? What is it? Is your mother home? You want to call her so I can talk to her? And I'll explain to her what the problem is? You got that camera on? You hear what I said?
Okay, so this guy really needs to go to anger management classes. I mean, I'm laughing, but this is not funny. It's not funny because this guy was just about to beat up on this kid. I mean, listen to what he says to him. He says, "You're disrespecting. Stop calling me dude. Dude is a guy that works in a ranch. Well, maybe you should be working in a ranch, you thug." He says, "Shut your mouth. You disrespected me and this badge." Is that insane? Or it's just that insane? He tells this kid that if he doesn't wisen up, he's going to end up dead. I would say that he's saying that he just might kill him. I would take that seriously if that thug would say that to me. I would press charges and say, "Hey, this guy tried to kill me. He said that if I don't shut my mouth, he was going to kill me." I mean, this is out of hand. This is a 14-year-old kid who's skateboarding. He comes out of his little mini car there, and he starts yelling at them. And he's got to show that he's authority to a 14-year-old boy. I guarantee you that if you see that fat bastard in the street without wearing a uniform and a fight breaks out, he's the first one to go underneath the table and hide. Those are the cowards. But when they have a uniform, when they have a badge, they're all of a sudden, they're macho guys. Just like that guy I told you I grew up with. Whenever there was a problem, you know what? He ran in the room. He ran in the house. Never fought. Never fought because he was a coward. And he's still a coward. And so are these guys. But you know what? They hide behind their badges and their uniforms because that gives them authority. Because the controlling cabal has given them the authority to harass people, to fine people, and to strip them out of their rights. Basically, I mean. It's just getting worse and worse every day, and people don't realize this. Well, we're going to take a quick break. I think we have Santos Bonacci back on the line. He's from Australia. He's usually here on Mondays. I think he had a little bit of a problem with his connection, but I think we have him on the line now. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll see if we can get Santos on the Truth Hour. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, and we're back to the Truth Hour. We're talking about police brutality, the insane wearing uniforms, and we got Santos Bonacci on the air. Let me get him on here. Santos, can you hear me?
I can, thank you.
Okay, let me just double check that.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2,
Okay,
3, 4.
perfect. We got you on. Yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulties to get you on, but nevertheless, it's always a pleasure to speak to you, Santos. We were talking about police brutality. Now, what inspired me to do this show today is because I saw one of the videos that you posted on Facebook today, and or was it yesterday, about those kids getting evicted in England, I believe it was. And this is something that needs to be addressed because these thugs are just getting out of hand. I mean, they've gotten worse. I just showed a video, which is a couple of months old, but I wanted to show this. This cop, you know, he stops his little car in this park, and he approaches these kids, and he starts screaming and yelling at them because they were skateboarding. They're 14-year-old kids, and this is what he says to them. He says, "Listen, shut your mouth. Don't talk to me when I'm talking. You got to honor me, my badge, and why are you still back talking to me? Could it be because your mother and your father haven't taught you to respect? Maybe they haven't put their foot up your butt enough so you don't disrespect people like myself." I mean, this is insane. I mean, I have another video that I will show it to you in our audience after we talk a little bit. But these guys are insane, Santos. I mean, what is going on with these guys? I mean, where do we draw the line? I mean, I tend to get a little angry when I see these things, and I know that's not the correct way to go through. You know, because more violence creates more violence. But you know what? I mean, I get the urge of, you know, telling these guys, you know what, take your badge off, take your gun off, and let's go on the street, just you and me without the badge, to see how tough you are. You know, they pick on young kids, they pick on women, they pick on elderly folks, they slam them on, you know, on the ground, they taser them, they spray them. What's going on with these guys, Santos?
Well, Johnny, I've explained in my videos how everything goes back to the Vatican. All roads lead to Rome. When Rome puts the screws in and decides and sends her her orders from on high, they filter down, and Rome would be telling people to put the screws in now, all the foot soldiers now, because people are waking up, people are getting conscious, humanity's starting to realize their divinity, because the apotheosis is happening, the metamorphosis is happening, the long prophesied awakening and transformation and consciousness shift. And Rome does not want that. Rome has been harvesting souls for 2,000 years. She's got a good business going. And all of those uniformed people, directly or indirectly, work for Rome. There's no two questions about it. Rome does not want to lose her control. These poor boys who don the uniforms and take orders from on high, they are actually disobeying nature's laws that they have in their hearts. Because Rome's laws, or Rome's fictions, her UCC, Admiralty law, canon law, fiction, law of the high seas, that has superimposed itself over the top of our already beautiful natural law, which we have from the moment we are born. Rome takes that away, indoctrinates us in the left brain. She takes us out of the right brain when we're children, sends us to school, and indoctrinates us in the left brain. Everybody is doing all of their actions out of their left brain. That's what the Bible calls sinning because this is the sinister brain. Here, this male, masculine side, this is the one that obeys commands. This is the side that is logical and thinks and carries out orders and has opinions. Here is where you know. This is where the music comes from, where the art comes from, humanity, the divinity. The right brain is, and what's happening is there's no balance at all. A policeman, he can be a thug because he thinks he's doing everything that he's been commanded to do. That comes from his left brain. So he can go ahead and be a thug, and he can justify it in his own mind because he's been trained like that. And it's very, very sad, but Rome pulls the strings of every foot soldier out there that is working against this consciousness shift. They're thugs because they're trained to be thugs by Rome. Once we get rid of Rome, and that's not too far down the track, my friend, Rome is going to hell in a handbasket. It will be judged. Humanity will do it, and it will be destroyed. It will be decimated. It will be denuded of all its properties, all of its Rembrandts and Da Vinci's and Michelangelo's and Raphael art collection that it has. That's going to humanity, man. We're going to feed the poor soon. But you can only feed the poor when you get rid of the Vatican.
Santos, but I'm not sure how it is in Australia, obviously, because I'm not from there. But I mean, I speak a lot from the United States because I am familiar with that system. But there's a selection process where they hire when they hire the police officers. Obviously, they give them a psychological examination. But it's for the folks to need to understand is that they're not just there to do a psychological test to see if they're crazy. They're there to identify what Santos is saying, to see who is more left brain or who's going to follow orders, and those are the ones who are selected. See? In the United States, Santos, I mean, the speed limit, let's say, in the roads are 45 miles per hour. You drive 47 miles per hour, they're pulling you over to give you a ticket. And not even to get into the whole deal of what you always speak about, that that's their statutes and they're following maritime admiralty law, and we don't need a driver's license. But for those folks who are still sort of asleep, they're not only trying to follow the law, their law, but they're creating more anxiety and stress in their life because they're driving or they're going somewhere, and the moment that you see a cop, instead of feeling protected, you feel afraid, and that psychologically begins to create more fear and more conflicts internally. So I mean, is it the same way over in Australia, Santos?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, everybody fears the policeman because they're a bunch of thugs. And like you said, the selection process, they know that they need about at least 80% of thug factor in their police force. And they always keep about 20% of good policemen. They always keep a small percentage of really, really genuinely good guys. They can think, and they let them think that they're actually going to make a difference, these police officers. And that's why you'll get confused, because you'll have a really good police officer, but you will have an absolute thug most of the times, because that's how they're selected.
There was when the Occupy Wall Street, there was an older, I think he was a retired sergeant from the Philadelphia Police Department, where he stood ground with the protesters. I'm sure he's one of those good guys who realized, hey, listen, it's not only your rights that are being violated here, and then they're taking all your rights away, and they're not letting you do anything, but it is our rights as well. I mean, they believe that they're not part of the system. In other words, let's whip them, let's taser them, and let's control them. And they're not even realizing that they themselves are slaves to the systems, and their children are going to be slaves to the systems, and their grandchildren, or one of their family members. When are they going to wake up, Santos? When are they going to realize that, they're being mean to another human being? When do you draw the line and say, enough is enough? This is not good. This is not good.
Well, Nuremberg should have taught everybody, the whole world, after the war. 16 or 17 of the highest ranking Nazi soldiers were executed and hanged after a very fair trial. And it is remembered that many of these officers said, we only were following orders. We were ordered to kill people, and otherwise we would be killed. That's why we did it. So what they taught in Nuremberg was, okay, so you killed all these people and you didn't have a conscience about it? Well, taking orders doesn't count. What counts is humanity and universal law. In the end, these cops and policemen that abuse other people and disregard universal law, they will carry all of the karma, all of it. They carry it all. So what they're doing, these poor souls, they don't realize how things work and the karmic liability that they accrue to their lives by torturing and hurting other people and processing them through their system, knowing that their system is complete, utter fraud. They are actually acquiring all of that bad spirit that they give to other people. That all goes back onto their own heads. They're piling themselves with many, many, many curses. Many curses. Unfortunately. So when they hurt me and when they abuse me, I mean, I consider myself to be happy because that trauma is not mine. They are the ones that are traumatized. They are the ones that are thugs and are happy to carry tasers around and just, shoot them off. How many people have been killed now with tasers? It's ridiculous. Every day, every week, someone's dying in Australia from taser, and they justify it. Oh, we didn't expect to. That policeman did not expect to, when he woke up in the morning and got ready and dressed for work, did not ever think that he was going to come to work and have to kill someone in his line of duty. And they justify it, and they always tell you that there was no excessive violence was used. It was always in defense and everything like that. What a load of rubbish.
Santos, when does the actual police, as we know it today, police department, police officers, take into effect? I mean, does this go back to the Roman days, back to the Egyptian days? Obviously, I'm sure they weren't called police, or what were they called? Where does this originate? This whole idea of policing the people, because that's what it is. They're policing the people. They're not helping the people, or they're, as I was saying earlier, they're there to protect the controlling cabal and to find us and to beat us up and to make sure that we know who is in power. I mean, even you take the army, the soldiers, they give them these dog tags. I mean, they're telling them, you're dogs. You listen to what we say. So when does this all originate with a police force or a police person, Santos?
Yeah, it originates with empire. Empire is against republic. That's how it works. Now, Rome is an empire. It's the Roman Empire. And that happened when Caesar Augustus took over after his uncle's death, Julius Caesar, in Rome. Before that, Julius Caesar presided over a republic. It had laws and senators and had people participating properly in that government. And the word police comes from poli, which is city in Greek. That's how we get the words metropolitan. That's how we get the words policy, polite, etc. So the police should be the ones that are looking after the poly or the city, the metropolitan. Now, but what our modern forces are, they are protection agencies. They're protection rackets. They protect. You see, the police come to you and they say, we are here to serve and protect the public. Now, don't be deceived. The public is not you. The public is the corporation. They are there to protect the corporation. And so when you look at the word police, which comes from city, the word for city, and you realize that city is also connected with the word civil and the word civilization, and civil and civilization have their roots in the word slavery. Then you understand how the whole system works. See, the Vatican's been very busy over the last few thousand years, and what they've done is they've written up a lot of papal bulls and a lot of trusts, like the Sestui KV trusts. And the first trust that they wrote up was in 1302. It's called a papal bull. And the papal bull was called Unam Sanctum, which means, well, sanctum means holy. But in that document, the Pope at the time, Pope Boniface VIII, he declared that all the earth's chattel or cattle belongs to them, and that they had the right to save all of these lost souls at sea. So that's why they have a holy sea. Sea is in reference to the ocean, maritime, and the maritime law which they administer in order to keep all of these people on their maritime ship. And they give us a citizenship. You see, we are slaves on their ship. A citizen is a slave, and the citizenship is the maritime holy see of the Vatican. So they are the boss, whether we like it or not, in a sense, until such time as we deal with them. Because no one has challenged their claims. They've made all these claims that they're the boss of the high sea, blah, 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 and no one has contested them. You see, that's what happens in law. If you make a claim uncontested, well, then the claim stands. And so they've just sat back and said, well, we're the rulers of the world, the masters of the world, and no one else had the power to say, oh, no, you're not. And of course, this happened in 1302 when they'd already destroyed the Huguenots and the Waldenses and the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar they destroyed 5 years after that paper. Well, no, the Knights Templar were already being persecuted by King Philip. He was Boniface's buddy. And at the time that Unum Sanctum was written up, Jacques de Molay, the leader of the Knights Templar, he was in prison. So there was no organization that could contest this papal bull. And that's the papal bull that now stands and considers you and I citizens on the ship and slaves because we were the ones that signed up in the first place.
I mean, yeah, Santos, you can still see it today. Even Citigroup, they name their organization Citigroup, which is just what you were saying, a slave. It all boils down to, listen, we're in charge of this, and you're basically slaves, dogs, and you do as we tell you, and that's it. Until, as you say, someone confronts them and says, you're not going to continue to claim my rights, and I'm going to take the baton of my life, and I'm no longer going to belong to your corrupted system. But Santos, how do we explain this to people? Because this sounds so crazy for an average folk to understand this. The way I tell them is, look, just look around what's happening to you. Just look around how the police, in this case, are just beating you up. They're not letting you protest. Look at how your government is just bankrupting your country. The unemployment rate. I mean, do you know that in Spain, Santos, the government of Spain is charging its citizens, and most of them Hispanics from South America, that they took out loans when they bought these houses with the mortgage stuff. The whole mortgage crisis came in, and they bought a house, let's say for 200,000 euros. They loaned 200,000 euros. And they made payment for about a year or so, and then after that year, they couldn't pay because all this the shenanigans with the mortgages, and they lost their homes. And now the banks are saying to the people, and most of them are South Americans, well, the house is no longer worth 200 euros; it's worth only 50,000 euros. So you still have to pay us another 150, and if you don't, we're going to throw you in jail. This is insane. You pay them money, they keep the house, and now you still owe them $150,000. The president of Ecuador, Correa, addressed this issue on public television for TV, TVE, Televisión Española, and which is like the main, it's the Fox News of Spain, and he posed this question to the interviewer, to the reporter, and she just didn't know what to say. And then he says to her too, because we had this big issue here because of the lawsuit that the president filed against the local dominating newspaper here, El Universo. And the reporter says to the president, he says, well, what about Human Rights Watch? They are saying that you're violating all the laws of communication, and there's no free speech in your country. And so he says to them, do you know who finances Human Rights Watch? Do you know? He asked her. He says, do you know that maybe the nuns of Mother Teresa finance it? Do you know if the Sinaloa cartel of Mexico finances it? Who do you know? So you know what they did? They posted a message while he was speaking that said, the president of Ecuador, Correa, says that Human Rights Watch is being financed by the Sinaloa cartel of Mexico. So how do we tell people this? How do we send this message of it's time to wake up? Look what's going around. Look what's going around, Santos.
Yeah, how do we tell people? Well, that's the difficult thing, because people are sleeping and they've been lulled into sleep deliberately. These people that in Spain that can't pay their mortgages anymore, they were seduced with low interest rates at first. This is what they do, okay? They seduce all these low-income people with low interest rates because they're all wanting to get into a house. They get them in the house, then they start turning up the property prices, and they start turning up the interest rates and everything like that. Or they turn down, rather, the property prices. So one goes one way and one goes the other way. Losses at both ends. And then that shuts people's mortgages because they're in default, and then they want to repossess the house and everything. And this way they make lots and lots and lots of money. Whilst we have a system of usury on this planet, there will always be trouble. We must destroy and obliterate all usury. Usury must be outlawed, and all the criminal thugs in the Bahamas, in the Caribbean, in Switzerland, who own these banks and who have big, big bank accounts, their accounts are going to mean nothing very soon, because they're going to be emptied out. Everything's going to be emptied. Everything's going to be leveled out. There's going to be a moratorium on debts. There's going to be forgiveness. There's going to be banksters thrown in jail, and all the criminal politicians that have worked with them, because the politicians are also telling lies. That reporter that couldn't answer the question? Well, she couldn't answer the question because she's getting paid by the banks. And the moment you tell the truth in the media, the banks get rid of you. So they want their jobs. They want to keep telling lies so that they can keep having their jobs. And this is the most evil thing in society, banking. Banking is absolutely putrid because it's based on usury and it uses people. People are used because banksters, they don't make anything, they don't do anything, they don't work, they just charge interest and live the best life on the planet. The people who are enjoying the most material prosperity on the planet are people involved in finance, because finance means rip you off. It's all about destroying other people, stealing their money through interest and trickery. It's all trickery, it's all evil, and it's all about to go bye-byes. Buckle your seat, Kansas.
Well, Santos, the good news is I was watching an article that CNN has lost in 1 year. They've lost their viewership 50%. 50% of the viewership has left CNN because they just are not buying their news, their lies, and their corruption. 17% of Fox News in the States also left. So that's a good sign. I think something is going on, and I've spoken to a few people in the States, and I'm finding now that they're now taking the initiative to ask questions and look for alternative news, or look to get information someplace else, or to even get educated on different topics like the ones that we talk here on the Truth Hour. So I'm glad to see that part, but I'm still having a conflict in controlling myself when I see this abuse of power, when I see this horrific abuse of these police officers or peacekeepers, whatever they call them, with average human beings, And this is not to say that, of course, there's always criminals and there's always people that are going to create, havoc in the world. But the majority of the people that they arrest or they stop or they harass are not criminals. They're not criminals. And
no, Rome's system treats you guilty until proven innocent. Rome's system is extremely violent and hurtful. It's all about stealing your property. That's all it is. It's the Inquisition. And I've proven this in my videos. When you go to court, you're actually going to the Inquisition. It's the Roman Inquisition. It's still going. The priests are still dressed in black because they are priests. They call themselves magistrates and they sit on a bench. The bench is the bank. And they listen to the hearing. And the priest is an ordinary. An ordinary is an officer. Sorry, the magistrate is an ordinary. The ordinary is an officer of the Inquisition, a priestly officer who has power to administer law by the church. That's what a magistrate is. They're all working for the bar, and the bar is subservient to the system, the Roman system. It's an Inquisition. And rest assured, the Inquisition's going bye-byes. It's going to be dealt with. It's going to be dealt with. They will all be dealt with. No one shall escape. Everybody will have their records, their private deeds, and all of their criminal actions. All of them will be manifest. Everything will be out in the open. Everybody will be judged according to their deeds. That's how it works. If you've been doing anything corrupt, it will be out in the open. Nothing will be hidden from now on. That's how it works. The age of Aquarius brings a big change. In Pisces, you can get away with all that stuff. You can't do that in Aquarius. You see, the air signs, Gemini was the last time we had an air sign. That was over 6,000 years ago. When the air signs come, humanity gets themselves in order. All the other signs are animalistic. You have to look at the zodiac, right? Gemini, 2 twins. Aquarius, a man. Libra, scales of justice with Venus holding up the scales. It's all human. The air signs are all humane. You look at the fire signs. Aries is a lamb. Leo is a horse. Sagittarius is a half man, Leo is a lion. And Sagittarius is a half horse, half man. So the fire signs, they're all animals. The water sign that we've just been in is a fish sign. Fish are ignorant. They live underwater. That's why the Christian church is associated with fish, because we're all like fish, or we're all like mushrooms, unconscious and controllable. But when the air signs come, and Aquarius is an air sign, humanity gets their act in order. Order comes back.
Santos, but we're heading this week to, as the good old Catholic Church calls it, Holy Week, or Easter week, right? In Spanish is Semana Santa. I call it Semana Sangana. Sangana meaning shenanigans. What are these satanic Kabbalists in the Vatican doing during this week? I know this is a little bit off the topic of police brutality, but being that we're in this week now down here, what is it, Wednesday or started on Saturday? I don't even know. I don't even pay attention to that anymore. But obviously there's still a lot of Roman Catholic strong. It's still a strong Roman Catholic stronghold here in South America. So obviously everybody is preparing for these rituals, and in Quito, in the capital of Ecuador, they're setting up this parade where they put these hoods that they look like the Ku Klux Klan, okay, and they carry the suffering Jesus on a cross, and they just walk all around the city of Quito. And in the meantime, all the folks are just feeling shame, feeling guilt, because the suffering Jesus is on the cross, and it's a constant reminder of suffering. So behind the closed door, Santos, what do you think it's going on in the Vatican during this week?
Oh, there'll be a sacrifice of one kind or another. Usually it's a blood sacrifice, and it's human beings. They have a constant flow of abducted children that go straight to the Vatican and all of the elites around the earth, like your Bushes and everything like that. And on these holy days, and the cross-quarter days, rest assured, my friend, that they will be drinking a fresh supply of blood. They are killers, and they sacrifice human beings for their religion. It's a bloodthirsty religion. It's a very, very bloodthirsty God that they worship. And I can explain that if you like.
The reason I ask you this, Santos, is because I had a comment the other day, and I want to clarify this as well, that you always make mention of the Bible. Okay, but apparently some people don't understand that you're referencing the mythology or the symbolism of what Jesus meant, or what the different personas in the Bible meant. That this individual said, well, he's just another religious guy, and he's hiding behind his astrotheology, and he's what he's really predicting is the same old religious mind. So I want you to address that for a second, Santos, and then go in and explain what you were about to explain, because I want this to be clarified.
Yeah, unfortunately, people can't get over the fact that the Bible does not belong to the churches. The Bible, like the Iliad, the Aeneid, the Odyssey, and all of these great works of literature, they belong to all of us. And it doesn't belong to, say, the Jehovah's Witnesses or the Mormons or the Catholics. It's not their book, and they don't understand it anyway. The way I'm showing the Bible is the pure, true way that it is. It's a book about astrotheology and nothing else. And so it doesn't contain history at all, not a shred of history. So the people who say this are very opinionated people, and opinions are worth nothing in the world of knowledge. It's either knowledge, or you can throw your opinions down the toilet and flush them, because they're worth nothing when it comes to reality. I don't serve anybody. I have no religion. I have no guru, no teacher. I'm not promoting anyone's religion. I'm not promoting anyone's intellectual property. I promote the truth. And in my videos, there is only truth and only science. And I show how the science works. I show, for instance, the sine wave of creation, that everything is a sine wave and everything vibrates in this dualistic universe that we live in. And because of this vibration or this duality, many, many holy books have been written to explain electromagnetism and the vibration of creation. And they've used characters in their books which they've personified or which they've anthropomorphized to make them look like true people. Pretty much like the story of Santa Claus. Santa Claus sounds like a real man. He's got a beard. He's got a red costume. He's famous, pretty much like Jesus. Jesus is famous, very famous character, but not any more famous than Santa Claus. And yet churchgoers, the buffoons, they're quite clear in their minds that one is a fiction and the other is not, somehow. I don't know how they differentiate the two, but they're both anthropomorphized aspects of electricity and magnetism. And so, but see, this is mind control at its best. The people who who deny astrotheology, they're mind controlled because they can't see it. The first thing they do is deny it. They won't look at the evidence, but they'll jump, oh, he's just another New Order shill. He's just speaking for the Zeitgeist movement or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what people do. All I know is that I speak pure truth from a pure source, and I do not get any pollution or contamination from sources feeding into me. For instance, I don't know, some people out there belong to Freemasonic groups, for instance. They are Freemasons. Well, they would have to toe the Freemason party line. I don't. I'm free to say whatever I want. I'm free to say that most of Freemasonry is Satanism and they sacrifice children. I'm free to say that most of the churches sacrifice children and are pedophiles and corporations and that make money. I'm free. My voice is free. I will tell the truth, from the rooftops. I've got no agenda. I've got other than to bring consciousness to mankind and teach people how to think rather than what to think, which is what their idiotic institutions. All institutions are going to hell. They're going to hell. You'll see the Freemasons go to hell. You'll see the Catholics go to hell. And I'm talking about their structures. Because in the Bible, it says that Babylon the Great will be devastated and denuded like the whore that she is. Babylon the Great is just that commercial system that you see out there with all these corporate buffoons in uniform serving her and serving Rome, like police officers and magistrates and all of these. They are actually participating in crime against humanity and they don't know it. This is how stupid they are. And the stupid people who think that people like me speaking against these organizations are actually speaking for them. That's how stupid. There is stupidity piled on top of stupidity, and all the opinionated people out there, for all their opinions that they have, they're not even worth one little cent. Not even a cent. There's my long answer.
I've always asked them, Santos, say, listen, if you have something to say, well, then come on and ask the question here with us live, So don't just leave a little comment, or if you think that you have the right answer, well, get yourself a TV show or radio show and talk about your philosophy. Don't just, as you just said, just don't give us your opinion without any fact. It's just ridiculous. But I wanted to clarify that because it could be, that a lot of people think because you referenced the Bible that somehow, especially if they're new to these concepts, obviously the people who are awake, you don't need to explain anything to them about that. But because you refer back to the Bible, then they would somehow get a little confused and think, well, he's probably still another religious guy. So Very well said. It's perfect. But you wanted to mention something about the sacrifices before I threw that question to you, Santos. Can you go ahead and talk about what you were going to say about the sacrifices they're going to be doing for this week of the Catholic Church Holy Week?
Yeah, yeah. They've based their god, if you like. See, they have a god. They're doing everything for their god. But the God that they have is a different creature to the God that you and I are thinking about when we think of God. We usually, when you think of God, you think of something wonderful and kind and beneficent and graceful and the Creator, and you have all these beautiful thoughts. But their God is a bloodletting God. It's actually called the dark satellite. The dark satellite is one of the chakras of the earth. There are 7 chakras to every living carbon crystal organism, and that's what we are. We are a carbon crystal living organic organism, and we have 7 chakras too. The earth has 7 chakras. Now, some of the chakras are the higher chakras, some of them are the lower chakras. The lower chakras are dealing with animal consciousness. Now, the earth has a chakra which is called the dark satellite, and it contains all of the animal souls. All of them. They're all in that chakra. And these souls are incarnating on the earth as animals in human bodies. That's why you look around and you see your brothers sleeping, at the shopping mall, and they're walking around like zombies, like they're sleeping. Buy stuff, buy plastic objects, bring them home, and then throw them in the wastebasket after a week when you get bored with them. They're programmed, right? And when you see that, you realize you'll know why, because they are unfortunately, my friend, they're not conscious human beings. They are unconscious human animals in Hermetic philosophy, and that's because they are connected to the dark satellite. And rest assured that the cardinals at Rome, who are the darkest sorcerers in the universe, the darkest evil blood sacrificing, they're behind all the wars, all the banking, all the police forces, all the mafia, all the corruption in the world, the drugs, the oil, everything. Rest assured that they are connected like a mother with her baby and an umbilical cord. They are connected with a magnetic umbilical cord directly to the dark satellite. They serve the dark satellite. They serve the animal forces. This is what they don't want you to know. This is why they've trained their idiot pastors at church to tell you that all evil comes from Satan the devil. Oh, Satan the devil's the only evil one in the universe, and everything that's evil belongs to him. No. What they're trying to hide is the fact that they themselves are serving the dark satellite. They are under the hypnotic evil spell of the dark satellite, and they do everything that the dark satellite wants, which is vicious, savage bloodletting. Because if the dark satellite does not have wars and child sacrifices and bloodletting, it ceases to exist. Its existence is dependent on human viciousness. Simple as that. So they've perpetrated a vicious system whereby they can handcuff you, take you to prison, they can kill you, they can electrocute you, the prisons around the world are full. And these prisons are full for the dark satellite. It's not for humanity. They're not doing it to protect us from evil people. There are people in there serving time for marijuana. There are people who are in there serving time for parking tickets. They are serving time for the dark satellite because that fear. See, when these animals in the chakra of the dark satellite, when they see and when they feel the fear of humanity and the wars and the bloodshedding and all of this trauma that they put humanity under, when they feel that, they live. They prolong their existence because their existence is dependent on human suffering. But what's happening though is that according to Hermes and Plato and all of the occult science, this chakra that's been at perihelion for 2,000 years, it's about to recede now, and it's going to apohelion, which means it's receding. So all of those vicious animals in the spirit realm that are controlling this earth, as they are slowly being pulled away from being being influential over the earth, they are losing their power, and that's what's happening. You know, it's more difficult now for politicians to lie because they don't have as many animal spirits hanging around them anymore, protecting them, giving them the spirit of lying. They are possessed by the spirit of the lie. They worship the lie. That's why they're lawyers. Lawyers is another word for liars. All politicians are lawyers. They're liars.
Okay, Santos. Definitely, we got to do another show on this topic. Is very interesting, and I have a lot of stories to share with you and with our audience. With this, as you call them, the dark satellite, where all these animal entities or evil entities are lurking around and possessing people. This is a topic that we need to cover because a lot of people are unconscious about this information as well. I mean, even the people that are awake, that know about what's going on in our world and the tyranny and the fraud and the banking system and the politics, but they don't understand, I don't think yet, in depth too much on what's going on in the other realm, in not our reality, the manipulation of these entities that are manipulating these other entities in our realm. So definitely, I think we should maybe touch on that next Monday. But never again, Santos, thank you very much for being with us here on the Truth Hour and sharing your wonderful information. I will see you on Wednesday for the Truth Hour in Spanish. And hopefully anything that you, our friends, you need to ask us, feel free to write to us, and we'll try to answer your questions or to clear up any doubts that you may have about our programming, about Santos, myself, or the goal of this channel here online. Santos, once again, thank you very much, and I will see you on Wednesday, buddy. Ciao.
Thank you, John.
Well, that's going to do it for us, friends. This has been a very interesting hour. Well, actually, a little bit more than an hour. We began to share with you the tyranny of the police department, and we ended up speaking about other topics that are also very important to the awakening of the humans. Again, I'd like to remind you to join us in Facebook at QLP Multimedia at gmail.com. In YouTube, you can watch all of our videos. Just search for us at QL Television. And of course, you can see us live here on Facebook and in our webpage, www.qlpmultimedia.com. That's going to do it for us. Thank you for being here with us. Join us tomorrow for the Truth Hour in Spanish, La Hora de la Verdad. I will see you tomorrow, 7 o'clock, South American Eastern Time, Ecuadorian Eastern Time, United States and Canada Eastern Time. That will be 8 o'clock in the States and in Canada. I'll see you tomorrow. You have yourself a nice night. Ciao.